Hey guys, Steve Tiber with 8 Days of Hope. You know, 2021 was an amazing year of ministry with almost 3,000 volunteers traveling the country with us as we responded to natural disasters and building safe homes, like this project right here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is our 8th safe house that 8 Days Hope has built for those who've been rescued from sex trafficking. Let's take a look back and see what God did through this ministry of 8 Days of Hope in 2021. Our rapid response ministry deployed to 7 communities this past year, serving over 400 families. We started off the year responding to flooding in the poorest community in the United States, Beattyville, Kentucky. Our team served for multiple weeks, helping pick up the pieces of one of our new favorite towns. Lifelong friendships were formed as we were able to help out so many in need. Our second rapid response event took place in Calhoun County, Alabama. A powerful tornado ripped through North Alabama, claiming multiple lives and damaging hundreds of homes. While we were there serving, a major flood devastated what seems to become our second home the last couple of years, Lake Charles, Louisiana. This outreach was our 5th response to this area in just the last 2 years. Shortly thereafter, a tiny town in Tennessee flooded and paralyzed a close-knit community. 19 people lost their lives due to the storm. 8 Days of Hope was able to spend 14 days ministering to families that lost so much more than just their homes. The volunteers felt a strong connection as they poured out their hearts to these precious families. While we were serving in Waverly, Hurricane Ida made landfall on the anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. This storm was so powerful that we would spend the next 7 weeks serving in South Louisiana. We served in Mandeville, LaPlace, and Kenner. Volunteers came in from all over the country as we helped over 265 families during this outreach. We removed hundreds of trees from roofs, fences, and even cars. We tarped roofs and we mucked out homes, and the list goes on. The volunteers were relentless to show the hope of Jesus to so many in need. This year, we were also able to serve in both satellite locations. 8 Days of Hope Buffalo took place in July, where 202 families received free home repairs over an 8-day period. 1,200 volunteers from all over the country came to be the hands and feet of Jesus in the Northeast. We love that God continues to open doors for us to serve in this community alongside 75 local churches and businesses. After a major windstorm hit Cedar Rapids last year, we decided to go back to our Midwestern home and continue our efforts. 147 skilled volunteers served for 8 days doing tree work and stump removal. To be able to return and help those still in need a year later was a blessing to say the least. Our Safe House ministry has grown beyond our wildest expectations. We were able to serve 4 organizations that are helping survivors of the fastest growing crime in our world today, sex trafficking. In February, we completed our 5th Safe House project in Northeast Mississippi. For 2 weeks, we had the privilege of working with Transformation Garden on a facility that 16 survivors can call home to get the emotional, physical, and spiritual support they need. Then we went back to our first Safe House project ever and partnered with Elijah Rising outside Houston, Texas, to install brand new windows and help them get closer to having another home ready for more survivors to take refuge. In October, we visited South Dakota and worked on one of the most unique projects to date, an apartment complex for survivors who are being reunited with their children. We're so honored to help build a facility that will be used for decades to come. 12 apartments that will be available to these families for up to 3 years at no charge. Now, to finish out the year, 8 Days of Hope traveled here to Pennsylvania, and we partnered with an amazing ministry called Worthwhile Wear. They provide hope to those feeling hopeless, those who've been rescued from sex trafficking. This project was special because we not only were able to renovate a home, but we were also able to provide much needed office space for their growing operations. The need for survivors to have a safe place to receive hope and healing is a dire need. But God is opening more and more doors for us to be on the front lines using our gifts to end this tragedy, one house at a time, one survivor at a time. Through the spring of 2021, we continue to help local churches distribute food in their communities. 157 churches across 3 states delivered tens of thousands of boxes of food to their neighbors who were without. 8 Days of Hope distributed over $6 million of food this past year through local churches. When Hurricane Ida hit, our rapid response team deployed immediately. When we arrived, the need for food, water, and fuel was apparent. Our team was working away, tarping roofs, mucking out homes, and removing trees, but people not only needed a safe place to lay their heads at night, but they also had an essential need that was not being met: the opportunity to eat. We gathered, prayed, and obeyed. For the next 2 weeks, we would do something we had never done before. We fed 500 meals a day to the hurting and the hungry. And we saw what a hot meal could do for families that were going on a month with no electricity or a stable home to go back to. Today, I have some exciting news for you. 8 Days of Hope is expanding and launching a new arm of the ministry. That means that 8 Days of Hope will respond to disasters, help people rebuild, and now feeding focused. What does that mean? I'm glad you asked. Now, in order to launch this arm in excellence, we believe that we have to raise about $1 million. Yes, $1 million. That's a lot of money. We know that. But think about this. We're going to be sending trained people to make large amounts of food, up to 8,000 meals every single day for 8 days. That's 64,000 meals in an 8-day period. But that means you not only need people who are your greatest assets, but you need the equipment. And of course, the equipment doesn't come cheap. So we've talked to other people that do some type of feeding ministries, and we've learned from them, so we know that we're buying the right equipment and the amount of equipment we need. But here's some good news, some exciting news. So we have talked to a small group of donors who've given to us in the past. They provided resources for us to expand the ministry, and they want to offer up a matching gift. Now, a matching gift is simple. You don't get the money unless you raise the money. But these donors have come together, and today we're excited to announce that we have a $250,000 matching gift. Every dollar you give, up to $250,000, will be doubled. So if you want to give $10, it turns into $20. If you feel comfortable sowing $100 in the ministry, it turns into $200. You can do the math. But this is a perfect time for us to raise the resources we need in order to do this in excellence. So you can give one of 2 ways. You can go online at 8daysofhope.com. It's easy, fast, and it's safe. Donate 8daysofhope.com online. Every gift will be doubled over the next 6 weeks. You can also mail us a check to P.O. Box 3208, Tupelo, Mississippi 38803. Wouldn't this be just like God, that once again He provides all the resources that we need to do His work? I mean, it's not about 8 Days of Hope. It's not about a person or a leader with this ministry, but it's God working through His saints, through local churches and businesses and individuals like you. Continue to pray for the ministry of 8 Days of Hope. Consider volunteering with us in 2022 as we continue to serve families in need. Please consider a donation more than ever before to help us launch this new arm of the ministry. Man, we love you guys. Hope to see you in a future trip with 8 Days of Hope. As always, to learn more about the ministry, go to 8daysofhope.com.